Oh, you weren't kidding, dude.
Dude, it's we got a little bit of family friends in town. They got in today. Britt's not here till tomorrow, so yeah, we got like 46 kids running around upstairs.
Wow. Nice, dude. Well, you got in before not late, dude.
Yeah. Oh, we're live.
We are live. Oh yeah, dude. I was live. You hopped in. Just the right time. We are live. Oh, gotta share this here. Make sure we get it to the proper feeds real quick.
Gotta hydrate, be a team player.
Yeah. Where else do I need to share this? Oh, Blue Sky. Oh man, I love how the live stream like thumbnail when I share these is me from Halloween a couple years ago when I dressed up as depressed Thor. I pulled it off. Obviously, I look just like Thor.
We
anyways.
look just like.
Oh yeah, we look just like Thor. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, get it straight, Bennett.
Sorry, Bortle. Apologize. Wait, what?
Wow. There's no way. He's playing Jedi mind tricks, right?
No way.
Here.
Sam Levitt listed as doubtful? No way, dude.
He was probable yesterday. Here. Big 12 injury report. It's probably broken.
Dude. I mean, that's like, yeah. Let me pull it up here. Let's get this.
He's actually doubtful. That's
listed
real.
as doubtful. Yeah. Wait, it's like, yeah. Dude, wow. No way.
He's gonna play.
Dude, yeah,
I'm
dude.
not buying that. I'm not buying that. Nice try, Dilly. Not buying it.
Yeah, dude. That's Dillingham giving a little Whittingham a little a little taste of his own medicine, dude.
There's
no way.
Who is their backup?
That is way funny. Wow, dude. That changes the conversation a little bit. Even if
Jeff Sims.
Yeah. I mean,
not even
he came in and no. He came in and ran for a touchdown last year, if I remember right.
Yeah, if his last name is spelled with 2 M's, he'd have some of that pedigree. Nope. He's the furthest thing from Phil.
Yeah, dude, we gotta let me upload this here. Here is the updated availability report. Dallas Vakalahi no longer listed as probable, just taken off the list. But yeah, the Sam Levitt listed as doubtful. Wow, that's interesting.
Can I talk about the line or no?
Sure.
I want to see how fast that may have moved.
Oh yeah, let's look that up. Dude, that changes. That's
what are we going to talk about now?
Well, you have to talk about this, right? Like this changes stuff. This changes the conversation. I was just going to open up asking you like how we're feeling about this game. And We've got Sam Levitt listed as doubtful. Like that's nuts, dude.
Yeah. The line hasn't moved at all, but
Dude, Dillingham is totally playing a game.
it
Do you
has.
think Kyle was like, "Hey, Kenny, do me a solid and do this one time for us, just to get the heat off our back"?
Yeah, right. Utah 22 Youth is asking, is their number 2 wide receiver on that list? I heard he's going to play. No, the one that's out is Noble Johnson. Their number 2 wide receiver is Jalen Moss, who hasn't played yet.
Yep.
Transfer from Fresno State.
Yeah, Jalen Moss is the guy that they're bringing back this week. There was, so I had Damon Allred on the episode yesterday, and he covers Arizona State for ArizonaSports.com. He shared a little clip with me of an interview with Hines Ward this week, and they asked him about Jalen Moss, and Hines Ward basically said, like, yeah, we're going to use him probably a lot. Like, he's an experienced guy. He's been in these types of games before, and he's going to be somebody that we look to use. So he's the guy. And he was, coming out of Fresno State, he's a guy with over 1,000 yards, very productive, kind of your dynamic slot type receiver. So he's a guy to be certainly aware of. Wow, dude. Sam Levitt listed as doubtful. That's so funny. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the show.
Yeah. I mean, there you have it. Dude, what could it even be? Like, he was throwing wet balls around yesterday.
Broke his finger on a wet ball.
That's crazy, dude. That is something.
All right. Well,
all right. Let's
pull it together and have a show.
Yeah, let's get into it. Welcome on into the Utah Blockcast. I'm Steve Bartle. I'm Steve Bartle. Who's who? Yeah, obviously we're talking tonight. Arizona State, Utah. Really looking forward to this matchup. A matchup of top contenders in the Big 12, and I think this is a pretty significant opportunity for Utah. So, I just got a text. Looks like the line has moved to -7.
Then it's that's starting to be real. Wow.
Yeah, so keep tabs on the lines, people. We'll keep that's interesting. All right, dude. Well, obviously this is a big one. Both teams coming in at 4-1. Arizona State with a non-con loss, Utah with a loss to Texas Tech. And, this is an opportunity for Utah to continue to build some momentum after getting back in the win column a couple weeks ago against West Virginia, going into the bye week, getting healthy. And now you have an opportunity against one of the top contenders in the Big 12. So, this is a big one. And before we get too much further into this, I want to make sure to just remind folks, go to the podcast, subscribe, submit those 5-star ratings, go to the KSL Sports YouTube page. You can go to the playlist. I'm pretty sure you can set notifications for the Utah Utes playlist or the Utah Blockcast playlist. That helps us out a lot. We're trying to grow this to get this going where we want it to be. Ben and I talk about this podcast and the future of it quite a bit, and the plans that we hope to, one day accomplish with this. And so your engagement, your involvement with that, and showing us love really does help us a lot. So please go do that when you've got time. And yeah, we'll see. And that line continues to move 7.5 now. Wow. Dude. So, all right. Well, I was just going to throw it up to you first, dude. Just how we feeling?
I don't know how to feel anymore, bro. I mean, no, it's good to get back from the bye week. Obviously, it's nice to recharge and have a little less to do and be able to spend some time with family and doing whatnot. But excited to watch this team play another game of football, especially the way they left things off in Morgantown. Built back some momentum after the stinger against Texas Tech. Got two big ones in front of us with Arizona State coming to town, and then the next week travel down to Provo. This is it, right? This is where you start to figure out what is Utah really made of, what's in front of us, what are those postseason prospects, what are those looking like? A lot of questions that'll be answered no matter who might be under center for the Sun Devils on Saturday. So, yeah, mine's a little blown. If you're late to the party, you've been living under a rock. Sam Levitt on the Big 12 injury report has been listed as doubtful. There's a lot of line movement there, which tells you that that's a little bit more than maybe Dillingham just playing some mind games. That's what we were joking about first. Maybe Dillingham's trying to mess with Whittingham for some of the things that Whittingham has done, but it's seeming pretty real. So hope to get some details on that. For those of you that are scrolling the timeline and seeing things, make sure you drop that in the chat. Let us know what's going on, because we're focused on putting a show together, but we could appreciate the tip if you see something. And as always, make sure you're dropping your questions in the chat. We like to engage with you guys and answer those questions. And appreciate all of you and all the support. This is a lot of fun. So.
Wow. Yeah. Getting some updates in real time. I think it took a lot of people by surprise, people in the Phoenix area as well. So we'll see. And Pete Thamel just tweeted it out now that Sam Levitt has been downgraded to doubtful. So they got the Thamel tweet now. They're getting the Thamel tweet treatment. And we're all too familiar with the Thamel treatment when it comes to quarterback injury reporting, dude. Not fun. Not a good place to be.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Dude, wow. Yeah, dude, this is a big one, like we've talked about. And so before we get into the matchup, this is an exciting one, I think, for a lot of reasons. Right now, obviously, Arizona State coming in, the reigning Big 12 champions. But there's a lot of respect between. I think there's been a growing amount of respect between Utah and Arizona State. The fan bases, but the coaches in particular, Coach Whittingham, Coach Dillingham, have both had really great things to say about each other. And I think that that sort of seeps into the rest of the fan base and the program and all of that. I think there's definitely a growing amount of respect between the two, and I think it's going to make for an interesting matchup this weekend, but just for the foreseeable future, with these two programs. So I'd be curious to hear from folks. Just what do you guys think of this Arizona State matchup? It's certainly evolved over the years as Utah kind of got their legs under them. In the power level, and they became the bullies and they became the guys sort of dominating this matchup. But early on in those Pac-12 years, it was pretty rough. Arizona State was the big bully on the block. And I think Utah certainly enjoyed dishing some of that back the last few years. So, but just would be interesting people's thoughts on this Arizona State matchup and rivalry, if you want to call it that. And we'll make sure to share those. But man, this conversation, dude, this changes. Sam Levitt, like we've got to talk about this. Like we can't just not. This is the big story now.
Yeah, it's definitely a quarterback that I was interested in seeing how the Utah defense would perform against. He is. I listened to some stuff with the PFF guys, and they called it out that he's the number 2 quarterback in the country in terms of scrambling yards. And number 1 is Nico Iamaleava. So just getting both of those, I thought Utah did pretty good job of keeping Nico contained. He did get out and get free a couple times. One really big one that led to a touchdown drive. But Sam Levitt and Arizona State, with the weapons they have, and Jordan Tyson, Raleek Brown, getting back, Jalen Moss. definitely interested in seeing that test for the Utah defense and seeing how Utah was going to be able to potentially contain that. With that being said, their backup quarterback, don't know too much about him.
Yeah, you got to go back to last year. Jeff Sims,
Yep.
if you remember, obviously we all remember that game last year, unfortunately for all the wrong reasons. But, Sam Levitt also left that game with an injury, and Jeff Sims came in and, was able to do enough to, I think, get Arizona State into the end zone, right? Arizona State was driving um, and then Levitt took a hit to the shoulder. Sims came in, and I think he was the one that actually scored the touchdown against Utah on a little run. Let me see here. Yeah, Utah, 1 carry, 2 yards, 1 touchdown. Let's see if he threw any passes that game. He was 1 of 2 for 13 yards in that game. But this is a guy, Jeff Sims. He's played a lot of football, over a long time frame. He was started playing 2020 with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 2021, played in 8 games, 7 games in 22, 5 more games with Nebraska in 23. Somehow he's still playing in 2025, but he played in 4 games last year for Arizona State, and again he's already appeared in 2 games so far this season, 3 carries, 22 yards. So, he's he doesn't have a lot of recent production the last 2 years, but he's a guy with a lot of college football under his belt and power level football at that. So, this is somebody that if he is called upon, it's not like the lights are going to be too bright for him. He's been in these types of games, he's been in these types of situations, and it's certainly going to impact them because he just doesn't have the experience and reps that Levitt does with this group, Arizona State specifically, and that's going to affect them. But in terms of just him being comfortable on this sort of stage, like you can count on that for sure.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he still gets to throw it to Jordan Tyson, who's by far the number 1 wide receiver draft prospect in this upcoming NFL draft. So, he's got that. He's got Jalen Moss coming back, which gives them another target. He's got a good running back that is one of the better running backs in the country. And then Jeff Sims also just pulled up some quick stats on his rushing ability just to see, like, are we still dealing dual threat? He averages about 4.2 yards per carry across the course of his career. He's got 346 attempts for just shy of 1,500 yards. So somebody to still keep an eye to. Still a lot of the same game planning as far as what type of quarterback you're going against. But it certainly changes things for sure. But
yeah. No, it's interesting. And so, obviously this has changed the show plan and conversation a little bit. Obviously, we'll talk more here in a little bit on some other things, but working the phones to see how legit this is, what sort of status, we're legitimately talking about. I think I think it's best to, err on the side of gamesmanship more than anything else. I would be shocked if Levitt doesn't play in this game, but you never know. You never know. So I'm working my phone and trying to get some concrete evidence as to what's going on, but we'll see. All right, so I'll throw this to you, Bennett. Night game, Rice Eccles Stadium. What makes that place so special? And especially, I shouldn't say, 2023 was a day game, but 2021 and 2019 ended up a night game. 2021 was a night game. What makes these night game atmospheres so special at Rice Eccles Stadium?
The kids don't have soccer games at 8:15 p.m., so everybody gets to go. There's a full day of buildup that goes into it, and people get out, they get to the Guardsman tailgate lot, they get to enjoy themselves, they watch football, the camaraderie amongst the fan base, especially when the team's good and things are buzzing and there's something to be excited about. The night games are just they definitely hit different at Rice Eccles, and 8:15 p.m. is that's about as much time as you can get ready for the game. So I think it's just that all day buildup. Maybe some people wake up, do a round of golf, maybe go get a little nap, get a little lunch in, make their way over to the tailgate lots, and then into the game. But I think what 8:15 p.m. affords is not everybody, but most people can make it to that. All their obligations for their Saturday are done, and by that time, as soon as 8:15 rolls around, it's nighttime. People are ready to watch football, so I think that's where things get pretty rabid.
Yeah, got some comments coming in, so want to make sure that we highlight these. Yeah, again with Sims, athletic dude. That's what stands out first and foremost. Would be curious to hear from you guys out there. We'll post some comments on what makes Rice Eccles Stadium so special at night, but certainly want to hear from you guys. We'll keep posting some clips here or some of the comments here on the feed. All right, dude. Let's dive into the matchup because we want to do something special. Something we want to get going here pretty regularly. So please welcome on to the podcast, Andrew Crane, joining us on the pod. Andrew, what's up, brother?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on, dude. Don't embarrass yourself now.
You didn't want to. Bartle didn't want to suffer, so put me on the pod or suffer. You got to make choices in life.
Hold on, we're doing this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that Bennett?
There you go.
Let's go.
Oh,
let's go.
Shout out Big Rick, man. Shout out Big Rick.
Let's go. I'm pumped, man. I'm so excited.
Dude, thanks for hopping on, man.
Thanks for having me on. I've been begging for too long.
Yes, you have. It's been a long time. But dude, I want to make sure that I show some respect to you. You've been putting the grind in. You've been grinding tape. You've been evaluating a lot of stuff, watching a lot of tape. It's been fun to follow along, and it's been really cool. So keep putting in that work, man. It's been a lot of fun, and excited to have you on to talk about this matchup. I know you've got some thoughts, I'm sure, and so we'll dive into this matchup. But let's start with this game and talking about the big the key matchup in this game. And to me, where I go first is it starts in the trenches for both teams, right? And for me, specifically, this Utah offensive line versus this ASU defensive line and the run game specifically. So when we're talking about Utah's O-line versus Arizona State's D-line, what are your guys' thoughts on this matchup?
Go ahead.
Hey, you're our special guest. You go.
Crane, go ahead. Crane, go ahead.
Let's go. Okay. No, I'm really excited. I think that it's tough because in the trenches, I mean, we talked about it against Texas Tech, and I feel like we were so disappointed by how that went. Unfortunately, Romello Height was really good against Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano, and so was David Bailey. I don't know if Arizona State has a guy that is quite to that level. As far as the defensive line goes. Now their secondary, they've got some studs. I think Keith Abney is probably a first-round pick. They have a few injuries back there, but I think in the trenches, especially on the offensive line for Utah, I really think Utah has a good spot. I think they're in a good opportunity to really run the rock, especially with how the weather is going to be. I know that's probably part of the line shift as well. I don't know what's going on with Sam Levitt. What the hell? But no, I think that Utah definitely has the advantage, especially in the trenches.
Bennett, you got any thoughts on the matchup here?
Yeah, no, this is without a doubt the one that's most interesting to me. You've got a really, really good Utah offensive line that supports a really strong run attack. And ASU on the flip side, along their defensive front, they're very stingy when it comes to opposing rushing attacks. So I think this is an opportunity for the offensive line to get right, if you will. And the pass protection wasn't too bad against Texas Tech. It felt like the pass pro was up to snuff, but O'Block wasn't getting that push up front in the run game. And I think this is an opportunity to right some of those wrongs. And I think that's going to be a key to the matchup, right? If Utah is unable to get the ground game going, if ASU is able to stack the box and Dampier's unable to make some of those throws, it could be a really long day for the offense. So I think it's really important for O'Block to get right and be able to get some push there. And I think it's important to call out that for as good as Arizona State's been against the run, they haven't really played any good run teams. I'm going to go ahead and shout out Dustin, good supporter of the show, great follow on the timeline. He messaged me earlier this week and was saying, I think you can run on ASU. They just played some pass-heavy opponents. Only 2 teams gave a running back more than 10 carries against ASU. Yeah. Lincoln Pear got 13 and was at 4.7 yards per carry. And Bryson Washington ran for 111 on 6.5 yards per carry. Commit to the run, and you can run on ASU. Again, that's from Dustin. That's something that gave me some confidence as we approach this one. But yeah, definitely that's going to be key. If Utah can get their run game going, good things will happen.
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I think Utah needs to get the run game going, and with the weather conditions, being kind of a wild card factor here, I think protecting the football is going to be first and foremost the biggest priority in this game, and that's that speaks to the run game itself. Utah's put the ball on the ground, a couple of times with Wayshawn and Nakari. So take care of the ball. But I think this is a matchup actually that is going to be really interesting. Arizona State is only giving up 2.6 yards per carry, based on the numbers. And I'm glad that you pointed out, Bennett, that, they haven't faced really run heavy teams that are committed to running the ball the way that Utah is. Utah is averaging 5.4 yards per carry. And I think for me, what this is going to boil down to in terms of determining who's going to win this matchup is who wins on first down. And for Utah coming into this game, they're currently averaging 5.39 yards per carry on first down. And that's compared to Arizona State, who's only giving up 1.37 yards on first down per carry. So this is sort of that, unstoppable force versus an immovable object. But I like what Utah's done on first down. Even against Texas Tech, they still ran for 64 yards on 15 first down attempts, which is over 4 yards a carry. So I think that's going to be the bar to get to is plus 4 yards on first down. And getting into those manageable third down and conversion down situations. So I really like Utah's, obviously ability here to commit to the run and find success here. And again, it's going to boil down to success on first down, allowing Utah to build momentum and take hold of the momentum. That was something against Texas Tech, going back to that game where it just seemed like Utah was just starting to finally put together a couple drives. You fumble it once, you had a 4-play drive, 20-something yards, and then you put it on the ground. The defense gets you the ball right back with an interception. You go 5 plays, 20 more something yards, and then you put the ball on the ground again. And that, I think, killed Utah. So, again, that gets back to my point. Protecting the football is a must because Utah has to take hold of that momentum, and they do that just by meticulously driving down the field, which I think they'll be able to do against Arizona State here.
Do you think we practice this week with water bottles getting squirted at the ball just to make sure that the balls don't get punched out?
Probably a decent chance of that. Yeah, probably a decent chance. I don't know if they squirted water on them out the water bottle, but maybe dumped them in a tub or something. I don't know.
Dump them in a cold tub.
Yeah, dude.
It's gonna be wet. It's gonna be slippery. Protection.
What an image! What an image!
I'm
just
so
Kenny
sorry.
Dillingham. Just the
Tua is now doubtful starting quarterback. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe
thanks.
that's why he's doubtful. It's 'cause Kenny
Maybe
Dillon.
that's why. Yeah, dude. Maybe that is why. Um, all right, let's talk the other side of the ball. I think we kind of understand what Utah is about on offense, right? Efficiency and running the ball. Arizona State not as efficient. They're sort of a big play type of offense. Sort of that. Um, gosh, they find a lot of success through the air and on the ground with those explosive plays. Jordan Tyson, obviously being what he's doing as a projected first round pick. Raleek Brown, he's not Cam Scattaboo, but man, he's explosive and generates a lot of chunk plays. So let's talk Jordan Tyson first. And this matchup, Crane, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on Tyson and what makes him, a special talent.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson is, I was thinking about it today. I think Jordan Tyson is the best player Utah's played as just an athlete or a player since Caleb Williams. I think Jordan Tyson is that transcendent of a player. I think that he is you need to let anybody else on the field beat him except for Jordan Tyson. Anybody else. If Raleek Brown beats you, you live with that. If Sam Levitt, if he plays, beats you, like, all right, well, that's how that goes. But you cannot let Jordan Tyson beat you. I know Bennett was saying that he is the best receiver in this year's draft class, and I agree. I think he's a top 5 receiver in the country. He's catching almost 70% of his targets. He already has 483 yards and 7 touchdowns. That is absurd. I'd love for Utah to have a guy kind of like that, but he lines up out wide. He lines up in the slot. He has 56 snaps in the slot, which is pretty unheard of from a guy that is 6'2", 200. His average depth of target. So when Sam Levitt's throwing him the ball, it's at 10 yards. So, and his average catch is I believe it's at 11 yards. So every time he catches the ball, he's averaging a first down. This is a guy that you have to game plan against, and you cannot let him beat you.
Yeah. Bennett, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a dog. First round draft pick for sure. Go ahead, pick any mock draft you want. You're going to see him there, and you're going to probably see him as the first wide receiver off the big board. Utah secondary will have its hands full. I expect Smith Snowden to spend some time with him. I think that's a good opportunity for Smith Snowden to get some attention of his own. Obviously, everybody in this neck of the woods knows how good Smith Snowden can be, but having him follow around somebody and maybe doing some of that star coverage against a guy like Jordan Tyson and potentially locking him up is going to be huge. I want to make sure we talk about Jalen Moss a little bit. Jalen Moss is coming back. He was a producer at Fresno State. He's looked at to be that wide receiver too for Arizona State. If you look at things thus far in the season, Sam Levitt doesn't really have another target. His 2 weapons are Jordan Tyson and then Raleek Brown with the run game. So as far as the next closest wide receiver, doesn't even have 200 yards on the season. So a lot of times if you watch Sam Levitt play, if it's a pass play, he's looking for Jordan Tyson, and if it's not there, he might still throw it to Jordan Tyson. But if it's really not there, Sam Levitt usually takes off and runs. So it'll be interesting to see if we can put a blanket on Jordan Tyson. Make sure that Jalen Moss isn't able to come back in his first game in action this season, and hopefully he's not able to make a difference. That's stuff that'll make it a lot easier on the Utah defense as a whole.
I sort of view this game as similar to the Arizona game last year. T-Mac being a first round wide receiver, and he was pretty much it for Arizona. So I went back and looked at some of the coverage numbers, and it's about what you'd expect. A lot of the majority cover 1, cover 3, and then some cover 2 mixed in there, sprinkled in there, I should say. But that's we're going to see a lot of that still. I think Jordan Tyson, Utah's seen a lot of really good receivers, and Jordan Tyson is a very good receiver. But they've been through this before, and I think something we learned last year actually is that, if you're going to bet on, taking away an opponent's best receiver, you better still be prepared to make plays for other guys, against other guys on the field. And that Utah last year against Arizona wasn't able to do that late in the game. Now, certainly there's a lot of factors in that game and why it went the way it did beyond just the defense. But that's something to be mindful of. And I think Sam Levitt, who it sounds like, I just got an update, he practiced in full Tuesday and Wednesday and seemed healthy. So yeah, so again, just got an update, just got a text that just came through. He practiced in full Tuesday, Wednesday. I think this caught a lot of people by surprise down there. So I think we're sort of looking at maybe some gamesmanship here. I don't know. I don't want to accuse Coach Dillingham, our beloved Coach Dillingham down there. Dude, I like Coach Dillingham. I think he's been great. I think there's a lot of respect between the programs. But come on, dog. Come on, dude. What are we doing, dude?
He was listed though, as they had him on the injury report yesterday as probable.
Yep.
So there may have been something that happened, but I mean, if there's any world where he can go, he's going to go. This is as big of a game as it gets. I know Arizona State has a bit of a grind the next 4 weeks, but if he can go, he's going to go.
Yeah, I agree. Man, just that's will be a lot of fun to follow the next couple days. But Thursday's practice, Thursday is mostly just a walkthrough for college programs. So if he got hurt in a walkthrough, what's going on? I'm gonna have to have somebody explain that one to me. I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's certainly not common. All right, let's. I want to add some thoughts here on the passing. On some additional thoughts here. I think Smith Snowden, this is a big opportunity for him. Jordan Tyson coming in, first round draft pick projection. You go back to last year, Snowden matching up with Tyson. They matched up on a number of snaps, and Tyson came away with one reception on 3 targets for 9 yards. So I think you feel good about Smith here. Now, obviously, Tyson has elevated his game. I think that's fair to say from when they faced each other week 5 last year or week 6, whatever it was, to now. I think Tyson is certainly, I think that's fair to say he's elevated his game. But I think Smith, this is an opportunity for him to put himself on the map. And I know that he's going to be really prepared for this matchup. I'm excited to see the opportunities that he'll get in coverage. Utah is going to do what they do. They're not going to deviate too much from their identity on defense. Man coverage, cover one, they're going to go mano-a-mano, and frankly, they should. Utah's secondary, I know they've gotten a lot of flack early on for kind of the sloppiness with footwork and how much separation they were giving up. But when you look at the numbers, this is a group that's still limiting opposing passing attacks. When you're talking about Scooby, Smith, Benny, and Blake Cotton, they're combined to giving up, I think, just under 50% completion percentage. So it's a solid number, and I think that's what we'll continue to see is a lot of man coverage against Arizona State. And, obviously with the Sam Levitt situation, that can change things pretty significantly as well if it's real.
I wonder, and I want to know your guys' opinion on this. Smith is listed at what, 5'10", 5'11", 185. Tyson's listed at, I think, 6'2", 200. Is there any worry about the size gap there with Smith guarding Jordan Tyson? Do you think about, maybe we just have Scooby Davis guarding him, and because that size gap isn't nearly as big? Smith, I feel like, spends a lot of time in the slot, where Jordan Tyson spends more time on the outside. Do you think that you switch that around just so that your best corner is on Jordan Tyson, or what your guys' thoughts are on that?
Yeah, that's something that we've seen in the past, right? That star coverage where, Utah's top corner will travel with whoever that top guy is. Now, obviously with the injury to Nate Ritchie and sort of the flexibility you lose without him, with Benny now, Benny and Tillman probably needing to play, more strong safety. It'll be interesting. Utah's going to mix up what they do against Tyson. Like they're going to give him a lot of looks. They're going to, and that's not just for Tyson, but that's for the quarterback. So, you'll probably see a lot of zone coverage. You'll probably see some bracket coverage. You'll see a lot of different things, but I do think we will see quite a bit of Snowden versus Tyson mano a mano, and obviously you're gonna give help, but I think this is an opportunity for Smith for sure.
Yeah, no, and I think that's all well said. And I kind of wanted to spotlight a comment here from DJ Lava. Scally cannot play man on Tyson all day. Just bracket him. Learn from the USC game years ago. Some of that I do agree with. It's gonna be. It feels like it's gonna be one of those. We're gonna have to kind of feel some things out, make adjustments as the game goes on, but don't get totally torn up. The other thing with playing 100% man, if you've got a guy like Sam Levitt, you can just have those receivers streak the field, and then that opens up things on the outside and allows for some scrambles. So it'll be interesting. This is definitely one of those games where Scally's gonna have to put together a bit of a game plan.
Yeah, he's gonna need to be in his bag. And this is the type of matchup that he prepares for. And coming off of a bye week, I fully anticipate him being prepared to throw a number of different looks, at this Arizona State offense with Tyson specifically. And, you talk about man coverage. Utah played, like I said, a lot of man coverage last year against Arizona and T-Mac. And I think he ended up with about 50 yards last year. So, Utah can find success in man coverage. Do they have, Zamaya Vaughn or that? Like, I don't know, but guys are going to have to step up. You're going to do some different things. You're going to do bracket. You're going to do a lot. So like I said, I think Scally will have a bag for Saturday night. And I'm excited to see what all he cooks up. So, Crane, I want to get you out of here with this last one, and then we'll kind of finish this up with some rapid fire stuff. But just what is a matchup that we're not talking about enough in this game?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked.
I would say Ryan Davis versus Keith Abney would be where I'm at. Ryan Davis is Utah's leading receiver by a country mile. That's who Devin Dampier goes to. That's his security blanket. That's just really in the passing game what Utah's offense has been, is Devin Dampier to Ryan Davis. And Keith Abney, going into the year, there was a little bit of hype around him, nothing too crazy, but he has played his way into, first round pick conversations. He's lanky, he's fast, he's quick, and we talk about Smith Snowden playing star coverage on Jordan Tyson. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Keith Abney playing star coverage on Ryan Davis at all, because I love Tobias Merriweather. I love some of these other receivers that Utah has and has tried to get involved in the pass game, but I think eventually you come to the realization that it hasn't happened, and the odds of it happening are probably a little lower than you'd like. But if you have a first round pick guarding a guy that has had a pretty good year, it forces Devin Dampier to say, okay, Tobias Merriweather, I need you to burn that guy out there. Dallin Bentley, I need you to get over the top of the linebackers. JJ Buchanan, I think JJ Buchanan will take more snaps than normal this game, because I do think Ryan Davis, his stats will probably go down a little bit, and Jason Beck will need to run more 12 personnel, more 13 personnel of, let's get these tight ends involved. Let's force these Arizona State linebackers to play the run and pass, and then that'll open up those deep shots to Ryan Davis, the deep shots to Tobias Merriweather, the long runs for Wayshawn Parker and even Devin Dampier. So I'd say Keith Abney and Ryan Davis are my sleeper matchup for this weekend.
I think that's a great one. Just some numbers to provide some context to what you're saying here. 81.7 .0 grade in coverage on PFF for Keith Abney. He's allowed 13 receptions on 25 targets for 124 yards, so less than 10 yards of reception. He's got 4 PBUs and an interception, and giving up just a 49.4 NFL QB rating based on targets his way. So he is pretty tough and he's dynamic. And I think that's definitely a matchup. And I'm glad that you talked about kind of expanding the scope there of the importance of establishing the run, getting the linebackers to engage in the run, to create the opportunities down the field for a Dallin Bentley, for a JJ Buchanan. That's going to be a big key. And I think you're onto something there, Crane. Dude, appreciate you. Let the people know where they can find your stuff, because you're doing stuff, man. Like I know you've got a Substack and you're putting out some clips and stuff, but
Yeah.
I know you're trying to get on this grind.
Yeah. So on Twitter, my @is @CraneAndrew_. And you can just find everything on there. I spend too much time on that stupid app. So
yeah,
if you want anything from me, just go to that stupid app and it'll be there @CraneAndrew_.
There you go, dude. Go get a mic in the meantime, would you?
I need one so bad.
Yeah.
And I
you
just
do.
moved to Ogden. I'm in a new house, so I'm just like, I don't have a desk. I don't have anything like that. So I'm just glad
It's time
to
to upgrade, brother.
People and to be back in Rice Eccles on Saturday with my closest friends. So I'm pumped.
Awesome, dude.
Appreciate you coming on, and good stuff, man. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're
Thanks
natural.
for having me. Okay. See you guys.
See
you, Crane. All right, man. Appreciate Crane hopping on. Like I said, he's doing good stuff. So, all right, dude. Let's get to some of these predictions, over-unders, rapid fires. I think we all kind of understand what's going on with Sam Levitt now, right? I think we're all on the same page.
It feels like a game.
Yeah.
One thing I want to call out and make very clear before we get into these predictions in this rapid fire. This ASU defense has not faced a Devin Dampier type of dual threat quarterback yet this season. So that could be advantage Utah, right? So that's just one more thing that I was thinking of. I didn't want to let that thought escape. So
no, and I'm glad you did, because that is going to be a factor, right? When you're talking about Dampier and the 50, 60, 70, 80 yards that he can produce on the ground, that now sort of changes the math for Utah on or not for Utah, but for Arizona State defending Utah. And that's going to be something. There are going to be opportunities where Arizona State, clamps down too hard on the run with Nakari and Wayshawn. And there's going to be opportunities for him to pull the ball. Now, I think he is going to be pretty important this week with his legs, not just, in the option attack, but I think, this could be a game where his legs, in scramble mode could be really beneficial when you start talking about the weather impacting things as well. I think it could be a really productive day for Dampier on the ground if things go well. So I think that is absolutely worth calling out. All right, dude, let's get to some of these rapid fire predictions and stuff. You want to run this one?
Yeah, I'll take it. All right. Utah wins if.
Oh, Utah wins if. I think like I said earlier, I think Utah wins if they average more than 4 yards per rush on first down. I think that says that the offensive line is generating the push that they need to create opportunities on the ground, and that they're controlling the line of scrimmage. So for me, if Utah gets over that 4 yard mark on first down, I think that's pretty indicative of Utah doing good things on on offense.
Yeah, and Shub took the words right out of my mouth. I got Utah wins if Utah establishes the run. I know that's cliche, but that's our game. And if Utah's able to do that, should be a good night at Rice Eccles.
Yeah.
All right, so rapid fire over unders. Do we want to tee that up with a hat giveaway?
Yes, we do.
Part of it.
Yes, we do.
So we'll we'll get this out tomorrow. Get back on track with back from the bye week doing the Lodge 33 hat giveaway. So closest prediction to the actual score of the game, we'll get a free Lodge 33 hat. And if there is a tie, we're going to use these over-unders and these little predictions as the tiebreakers. So let's get into the rapid fire over-unders and questions here. Who scores Utah's first touchdown?
I'm going to say Dampier on the ground, actually.
I wanted to do the same thing. So to not be twin. I'm going to go with Wayshawn Parker on a 18-yard run.
Ooh, all right, getting real specific. Okay.
Yeah, that happens. Anyway, which Utah defensive back gets an interception?
Ooh, this is bold. Yeah, I'm going to say, man, who's going to get the most opportunity? Does it have to be a DB? What if it's a linebacker?
Linebacker could play. Which Utah defensive player gets an interception?
I'm going to say John O'Hall gets one this week. He's been close.
He's been
he's
very
been close.
He's been very close. I'm going to go with the guy that I think is going to get a lot of opportunity. I'm going to go with Smith Snowden. I like that. I see Teo Johnson shout out there. Wouldn't be surprised. Here's a Snowden shout out.
Going to get a lot of opportunity.
All right. Dampier rush over under 60 yards.
Kind of gave this one away. I think he's going to go over. Yeah, I think he's going to go over.
Yeah, I think he's going to go over as well. Total sacks on Dampier over under 1.5.
Ooh. Blake Cotton getting a little love here with the INT. Over under sacks on Dampier. I'm going to go under. I will give Arizona State credit. This is a defense that does not pressure at a high rate, but when they do get pressure, they get home. And they've got 19 sacks on the season. You do that because you've got guys that can get to the quarterback. I'm going to, give them a little bit of credit for, I shouldn't say a little bit of credit. I'm going to give them a lot of credit because they are doing really good stuff up front. But I think with Utah's offensive line, the offensive tackles, and specifically, and Dampier's ability to avoid, pressure and sacks, I think that comes in under 1.5.
Yeah, I think that's a good line there.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be 1 or 2. I'm going to go with 1 for Devin's ability to just escape. You already touched on it. ASU has the 14th ranked pass rush in terms of pressure in the Big 12. But when they get back there and they do get that pressure, they get home, and they get home often. They lead the conference, as a matter of fact, in sacks per game at 3.8. So, yeah. But for the reasons that you said, with the offensive line that Utah has, Dampier's ability to escape, I think I'm going to stay with you on the under there.
Okay. Yeah.
Total sacks on Levitt and or Sims over under 2.
Yeah, 2 is such a tough one. So Arizona State, they've given up, I believe, 14 sacks on the year total, or 12. No, it's 12. 12 sacks total on the year, with only one of those by fault of the offensive line. So there's some protection issues where running back or tight end isn't getting clean blocks. Some of that is on Sam Levitt, which is something that Devin Dampier has struggled with as well. I'm going to say over.
Yeah, I'm there too. I'm thinking 3 sacks. I think night game, Rice Eccles saw somebody say something to the effect of, got to stop calling it Sack Lake City. I'd like some people to be able to circle back on that one after this game on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Utah turnovers, giveaways, like Utah turning the ball over under.
I'm going to say under. I'm going to say they turned it over once. I think the conditions lead to it. I'm going to say once.
I'm going to go over. Fumble and an interception.
Okay.
It's wet.
Yep.
ASU turnovers over under 1.5.
I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna go
say one.
I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna give that same treatment too. One of each, fumble and interception.
Okay.
Utah rushing yards over under 200.
Over. I'm gonna go over, and they're gonna have to obviously earn it. Like, this is not an easy 200, but I think just with the conditions, with everything, with Dampier potentially being a dude that uses his legs a little bit more, I think over 200 yards.
Okay, I'm gonna go over. I think Utah needs it. Bonus question, Rich Austin. I'm gonna put this into two different questions in one. Over under Bray 50 yards. I'm gonna go over under Bray 5 touches. And what are your thoughts there? Five touches or over under for Bray?
That's a
50
good
yards.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go over. Yeah, I think he goes over 5 touches.
I like it. I think he's probably somewhere in that 4 to 6 side of things. I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna go over. I think he's gonna break one decent chunk play for Utah.
Okay, nice.
And final score prediction, or do you have another one you want to throw up?
No, I've got one. So I'm gonna go 27-20 score prediction for me. Utah gets the win. It's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be a defensive slugfest, but I think 27-20 is where I've kind of landed on this game.
And my gut kept telling me 27-24. ASU's last 2 games, the score is 27-24, but I just made a last second adjustment. 28-24 Utah.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's hear from you guys. Send us your predictions. Like Bennett said, we'll do the Lodge 33 hat giveaway again this week. So we'll get the score prediction and the over-unders that you can comment on tomorrow. We'll get that out so you can get those posted to Twitter and everywhere else. But yeah, get some score predictions in here. Do we have any questions that we got to run through real quick? I know we starred some. I want to make sure I hit those real quick before we call it a show. This is a good one. Will Utah have a wide receiver go over 100 yards in this game, and who will it be?
Bentley. I know it's not a wide receiver, but
no, I was gonna say Bentley. I was literally I was like, if anybody is gonna go over 100 yards, given the matchup, I think tight ends versus this linebacking group. I think that's the matchup. And if you want to put JJ Buchanan in that tight end conversation, be my guest. But I think tight end. I think a tight end is more likely to go over 100 yards in this matchup.
I think so. Does that put a bow on this, or I didn't know if
another
you were going to
question.
touch that one.
Did Nate Johnson go? Where did Nate Johnson go? This is not just a fumble issue, but he's got to earn the trust of the coaching staff. He is involved, and I want to make that clear. He is involved. He's actually playing a pretty important role this week for Utah. Very important role for Utah this week. So I know everybody wants to see him on the field. He's obviously got to work his way back into the good graces of everybody. Not just, this is not a wit thing. He's just got to work through some things. But he is playing an actually really important role for Utah this week as they prepare for Arizona State.
See Adam Howard for all your heating and cooling needs.
Free advertising on the Blockcast, bro. We got to start billing these people for that, man. We don't make enough money to be handing out free ads, dude.
You're right.
Can you talk about verticality?
We save that for the
space. Is that an UNC term?
It's just a joke. Just a joke that there's a lot of talk about verticality leading into the Texas Tech game, and got some of that in the West Virginia game.
All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll put a bow on this one. We'll call it a show. We're going to keep tabs. We're going to keep hunting for intel on Sam Levitt and how injured he actually is. But appreciate everybody. You guys are great. This will be posted tomorrow to the podcast feeds and to YouTube. So appreciate everybody. Again, I know I say that a million times, but you guys are great. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back at it post game Saturday night, the little live instant reaction. So make sure to have the notifications turned on for that as well. And excited for this one. This is going to be a fun matchup. Certainly more fun now that we've got some QB injury drama that we've got to monitor. It's going to be a fun one. So for myself,
I'm Steve Bartle.
Signing off.